Gemini released a feature last month and it has completely changed how I use it. And when you combine Gemini with anti-gravity, you unlock an unfair advantage. And in this video, I'll show you Gemini's brand new features. I'll show you how you can take that way further using Google's anti-gravity so that you can save time, become more productive, and unlock capabilities that 99% of the planet don't even know exist. And if you don't know who I am, my name is Jack Roberts. I built and sold my last tech startup with over 60,000 customers, and now I run a profitable AI automation business. So if you haven't already, grab that coffee and let's dive straight in. So Google's Gemini have released several brand new use cases, and I'm going to show you the ones that I think are the most practical, that you're most likely to actually use on a day-to-day basis. And we're going to show you how then you can take these use cases to a completely new level of productivity and time saving and development using Google's #1 IDE, Google's anti-gravity. I'm also going to give you a very honest overview about the pluses and the minuses, where it's like really great, and honestly, where you really shouldn't use it. So we're going to keep it, as always, 100% honest and real about Gemini in this video. And these use cases include Number Kalam and, really interestingly, Gemini Canvas. Now, to fully understand the power of Gemini, I'm going to show you across 5 use cases, and then we're going to supercharge that with anti-gravity, beginning with number 1, which is Gemini Canvas. So Gemini Canvas can be accessed under Tools down here. I'm going to scroll down and you will see something called Canvas. For some strange reason, it always shows at the bottom. So the idea with Canvas, it's like Gemini Chat plus extras. So I could say, hey, write me an email to get funding for my new startup that makes coffee. All right. So the first thing to understand in terms of productivity is that Canvas is very interesting. It's like a bridge between Gemini and an app builder like AI Studio or Lovable or Bolt. It can pull up different applications that you can share with people. But what's probably really interesting is that Gemini, if you remember in Claude, you had these things called artifacts. That's Gemini's answer to it. So the reason why this is better is because you can actually now edit in the pen. So I'd say, look, let's have a look at this. Hey, investor name. Let's say the investor number is the UFC. Hey, UFC, my name is Jack. So you can edit it as you want to. And really crucially, you can copy this. You can do anything that you like. And then here's the thing. You can share and export it to docs, copy the content, and go back and forth. And if I bring this over to the side, you can see I'm just like, hey, make it shorter, and then it will edit it for you on the right-hand side. But that's really just scratching the surface with Canvas. Where it really sticks up is the fact that you can ask it to build you different interactive, almost like widgets that you spin up. So for instance, one of the things that we could do is create a new one. Again, do a completely brand new chat, come down to Tools, and then let's go ahead and grab Canvas. So let's give it an example. So I said, hey, I want to learn how to market on emails, build me an interactive session that would basically let me understand best templates, best hooks, whatever the thing is. Then you can do this with Canvas. The other thing that you can do with Canvas as well, and I'll show you another example, is you can upload data to it. So let's say that you and your team want to discuss something on Monday morning. We have our coffees, we're ready for a conversation, and we just had the latest sales data in. Well, what's really cool now is you can upload this sales data or any numbers you like into Canvas, and it will whip up what I would call like a temporary, almost file for you to discuss. It's not long-term architecture like you would build in anti-gravity. It's something short that you can use, share with your team, and it's dead easy. I mean, I even did this with my own team. I was like trying to build something to share, and I was like, this is cool. I can build a full app for it, but you can just use this. So here we go. It's pulled up now. Winning hooks, templates library. So let's say your team, for example, is creating an email campaign, and you're like, dude, let me give this a resource of best email strategies. I upload it. So for example, even if you came back over here and I uploaded one new document, right? Like for example, I've got one here, which is 1,000 viral hooks for Instagram, essentially built on outliers. Someone created this. It's wonderful. I'll put a link down below if we can check this out. But I can say, hey, I've uploaded 1,000 viral hooks. I want to go ahead and create me 100 different examples on an interactive dashboard that my business can use. It's a dental practice. So say, for example, your team's building out a campaign to go on Instagram. We could throw up these mini things. The benefit of Canvas is the fact that it's easy to spin up and pretty quick to do. And just like that, it's now populated, which is cool. So dental viral hook library, daily inspiration. I'm doing a hook. I click on generate. And what do I get? Tour our luxury dental spa. You won't believe this is a clinic. And we can do another one. 5 signs you need to see a dentist about your tongue strips immediately. Then you can scroll down and look at educational, inspo in transformation, fear, common mistakes, process behind the scenes. So many things you can do. And I can now share this with my team. So if I click on share, for example, I can click on this one here and it will create a unique link. We can grab that link and then I can just say, hey guys, just for the Instagram campaign this week, grab that. One little thing I want to call out that isn't amazing, if you're on a workspace plan, like your own custom email, like I do, AI Automations with Jack, it will not let you share it for some very, very strange reason. This feature only seems to be available in the personal accounts. And this brings us on to the second Gemini feature I want to share with you, and that's its ability to understand everything in your ecosystem. For example, you can ask a question about, hey, what were the latest 5 Gumroad sales that I got? Now, the Gumroad thing is an interesting one. So Gumroad is where I share all of the resources for all my videos. It's all completely free. All you do is you click on a link, you put 0 here and click on I want this, and then come on to a next one. Now, some people will donate like $1, and I'm very grateful that you'd feel inclined to do that. But you don't need to. You enter your email address and you get all the resources ready to rock and roll. I spend a good time building these for you, and you just have them, right? And when I come back over, you can see now, but it's actually working for us. It's testing and looking at our workspace, and we'll come back with that data, which is really convenient. You can ask it, hey, what are my meetings today? What are my emails? And you can see we've got these 5 things here, all at $1, which is awesome. But where Gemini really shines, and this is the kind of bottom line of the Gemini 5 features, it's the interconnectivity of everything. It's almost the Gemini, you heard the Internet of Things, it's the Gemini of things. Now check this out. This is where it gets crazy. You can come down to tools. Again, now if you click on Canvas, you could say something like, hey, build a pie chart with this, okay? And it will then switch and build you something dynamic. So the idea is that you can now combine these things together. And just like that, you get a pie chart with the data, so you can stack anything you want to from your calendar, from your emails. You could, for example, say something like, hey, I hear all my financial KPIs, grab it for our meeting with our CFO and also the head of the technology department of this other business, combine them all together, compare them, and spin me up something interesting to look at. That's where we're at now with the new Gemini ecosystem. Now, the third thing is its ability to chat with Notebook LM, which I think is one of the coolest things. So Notebook LM, as many of you will know, is this incredible space where we can create these almost mini ecosystems of knowledge. If you want to learn anything, you can create a Notebook LM for it, right? But what's really powerful is with your Notebook LM. So I've got this one here on mastering anti-gravity for AI web development. Really freaking cool, right? But if I come back over here, for example, to Gemini, I can actually chat with my notebooks. So if you're in Notebook LM, I want you to imagine as a librarian, okay? And every book that you put inside Notebook LM is a librarian putting it on the shelf. Now, when I go into a notebook inside Notebook LM, like this one here on e-commerce growth ads, what's happening in this chat is the librarian goes over to the bookshelf, she pulls the book back, and she'll read you something from the book. Notebook LM doesn't do a good job of reasoning. It's not got what we call a global RAG, okay? It's very local. It will only tell you what's in the book, which is amazing if you've got things that you want to be really close to the source material. But the problem is sometimes we want to generalize things, right? Sometimes we want to have a conversation with multiple things. So what you can do on this plus button is come down and actually click on Notebook LM, and I can select now multiple different notebooks that I've got. Let's chat with this. Let's chat with this. Let's chat with that. Let's go over here and look at this OpenClaw thing and add all these resources. Now I'm having a conversation with 4 different notebooks at the exact same time. And in addition to that, I can once again connect those notebooks with contextual understanding about me. So I could then, if I wanted to, upload data. I could upload Google Sheets for things. If I uploaded a Google Sheet with all my own personal data and all these things here are talking about how to grow your marketing campaign, then all of a sudden you can get real specific feedback on that. And so, for example, I've got this 90-day roadmap now based on that information with some fake data and also as resources. Again, meaning you get to harness the incredible capabilities of Notebook LM with all that data in Gemini, meaning when you combine them together, you can just do stuff that wasn't even possible before. And that leads us nicely onto number 4, which is multimodality. I'd say the TLDR for Gemini, guys, is pretty much the better the context it has, the more info that it has, the better the experience will be. So you can, if you want to, give it images by simply coming down here, literally uploading any file you want to. And then here you see, you can select on tools. Do you want it to create a video, create some music, or create an image? If you want to amend an image, you need to be on the Pro plan, but it will create images with its Nano Banana model for you with a simple prompt. For example, this is just a silly animation that I made, just giving it one single prompt. Again, no prompt at all. I was just like, likewise, you can also say, hey, I want you to turn this into a cartoon and change the colors, and it'll do the same thing, turn it into a cartoon and change the colors for you. And this takes us on to the 5th thing, which is the ability to create websites with Gemini. So for example, this is an example of a 3D website that I built. I've got a full video explaining this, the exact same thing with this. If you look at the interactivity, now these are things that you build over several prompts, right? You get beautiful assets, you can do things like this. But if you're looking to one shot, so if I could just have this thing where I give it a prompt, just a little bit of information about my business, how great is Gemini at creating things? Well, I pulled together together something based on the best practices for creating a website. So for example, on this one here, build your perfect website. I'll put a link down below so you can come and grab this. You basically explain what your website's for. You could say landing page retention practices, type of business that you are. Let's just say you're a restaurant or an e-commerce company. You get to pick a style that you think kind of resonates with you. And then you can build your page. So you may want hero, social proof features, footer. Maybe you want a how it works section. So you click that and then bring that up. And maybe you also would like some stats. That'd be really cool. And let's have that there. Pretty much organize it, drag and drop exactly as you want to. And then what should the button say? You could say book now. And then what this will do is dynamically create for you a prompt. And this prompt is based on just all the research about what really does create great web pages, because sometimes less information is actually way more. And when that's done, you simply copy this prompt and then you can throw this into your AI website builder of choice. That could be Lovable. It could be AI Studio. What I did is I actually went and gave this same prompt to Google's Antigravity, which you can download at antigravity.google.com. And when you do that, and you can do this with the free account, because this is the crazy thing about Google's Antigravity, is that you get access to Gemini 3.1 model completely for free with your free account. Obviously, there are like limitations. You can't go crazy with it, but it's there. And you also get access to Sonnet and Opus 4.6. But you can see, you can literally decide, do I want Gemini 4.1 Pro High, or do I want Claude Sonnet 4.6 thinking? Mine has a bit of an arrow next to it just because I hit usage. So I'll switch accounts. And what we're going to do is give the exact same prompt to both of them. And so these are the two websites. We have website 1, and then we have over here website 2. So let you decide which one is your favorite. So this one here, let's see what we've got. So we've got 578. This one actually is Gemini. I've got it written down right here. So this is really gorgeous, guys. You can see you've got this thing down here. We've got the different, and bear in mind, this isn't sat down for like 6 weeks trying to figure it out. It's like one shot, right? Unlock your free website. You've got a nice bit of animation. This is really powerful. The fact that anybody can just throw this into Gemini, throw it into anything they want to, and get results like this. Now, of course, there's things we'd want to improve. Like this is too much text, for example. And, you know, if everything's the hero, nothing's the hero. But for a one-shot prompt, this is better than like most websites out there. And it's got a little bit OP on the animation colors. So that's something we turn back down. But this is really good. I think the coolest thing here is the full name and email address. This is really good. Unlock your free website. It's got the right CTA, and we've got a waitlist down there. But the coolest thing, in my opinion, is just stuff at the bottom. Like look at these different logos you can come in and select with, and it's got everything there. Then we have the one designed by Claude, built a beautiful website that converts. I think the buttons, a little thing, obviously it's responsive, as you can see. It moves up and down, which is great. I'm going to come down, choice by 2000, empty brands. We've got some fake faces there. This is really crisp. This is really nice. I like that the color matches the thing that it's on. So I'd say this, it wins in that respect. Trusted by industry leaders. And then you can see you've got a contact form. You can request a free proposal and some information down at the bottom. Now, before I show you how you can supercharge out the anti-gravity, I just want to put two things on your radar with Gemini, the good and not so good. So here's the thing. Allegedly peak intelligent performance with the model. The idea is that Gemini is supposed to be the smartest. Although on paper, that's true. Sometimes we think they're just optimizing for benchmarks, but that's really important for you to bear in mind. It has unrivaled spatial reasoning, so it can achieve a 100% on, again, the Geekbench 3D to the extent that you think that's super important. But the coolest thing is its lowest hallucination rate. In other words, it's confidently incorrect less of the time. So TLDR, very, very intelligent for a very cheap price. Great at spatial reasoning. Again, Gemini is awesome with multimodality. Think of images and videos. It's very fantastic at that and low hallucinations. However, let's go to some of the execution gap. Chronic execution failures. So fails frequently at tool calling, long agentic runs, and CLI operations. You're going to opt more for maybe a Opus 4.6 for that. It's like a powerhouse. It's one that I tend to use all the time. And I bring Gemini in for some of the design elements as a bit of a polish. And also infinite loop vulnerability. So the only major model requiring specific loop detection to prevent nonsense output. And also a little bit of file limitations, restricted to reading only 100 lines at once and fails at edits. Now, building these incredible capabilities in Gemini is one thing, but when you combine Gemini with Google's anti-gravity, it takes things to a completely new level. So I'm going to show you how you can use Google's anti-gravity to effectively do anything you want to. Now, to build this, I'm going to grab this brain.md from my community. I'll put this link down below for you so you can check it out. The business brain is your DNA. So I'm going to copy this and honestly, take the time to fill this out. Ask questions like your business, the machine, who's your target customer, what do you do, what are your numbers, what are the top 3 problems you solve for your customer. And the idea is that you get this mega context that you can feed to Gemini or Google's anti-gravity. And when you do that, that then almost becomes the foundation for anything that you want to do in anti-gravity or Gemini. Now, for example, now it's got our brain.md. We can give it any prompt. So I can say, hey, I want you to create 3 notebooks in Notebook LM to help me learn Spanish in 90 days. So I might say something like, create different ones, based on me. And I could come down and do an @ and just tag my brain.md like so, and it will reference that file. Now, the way they were connecting for, I'll touch on slightly later. I've got a full guide breaking down everything, so you can click that link on screen. But I just want to show you the capabilities here. You typically speak in MCP servers. You have a set number here, but you can add custom ones. In Manage MCP servers, you see all the things that we're connected to in Google's Antigravity, and you can see the one that I'm connected to here is Notebook LM, which I can enable. Again, the link will be on screen, so you can click that, but I'll point you towards how you get this set up at the end of the video. So we've got that set up. Now check this out. I come back to my agent. I give it the prompt. So as you can see here, guys, I basically asked it to help me create 3 different notebooks to help my learning Spanish within 90 days. And it's going to use my brain.md to get context about me. Now, obviously, it may not be Spanish for you. It could be something like, how me build up my email marketing campaign. Like, I really want to get better at email marketing, or I want to get better at YouTube or Instagram or LinkedIn. It could literally be anything that you want. Spanish is just a random example. Now, you'll notice here that there's an agent execution error. And I wanted to show you that because one of the things sometimes with Gemini in anti-gravity or models, if they get oversubscribed, it's like Google turns the juice down a little bit and it runs into errors. So I've often always found that it's better to build with a Claude Opus 4.6. This is what I personally do. And then I bring in Gemini afterwards to kind of spruce it up. That said, you can totally do it in Gemini if you like. There's no problem with that. Obviously, it's got its pluses and minuses, but I just want to be super transparent about the models and how I use them. And just like that, it authenticates me. So open up a brand new browser, as you can see over here, then validate that, hey, this is actually Jack. It came back over, and then it's now starting to go ahead and create the notebooks. And look, all 3 notebooks are created. Now let me add tailored notes to each one with your 90-day learning plan and context. So the reason this is really cool is that when we create notebooks on Notebook LM, typically speaking, and if I refresh this, we should actually see these notebooks appear for us. We do it based on our own background, right? And what we understand it. But because Gemini and Claude have this full context of who we are, what we're doing, and we have this kind of 500 IQ powered assistant, can ask better questions, get better resources, meaning the total quality output of the notebook is higher. You can now programmatically create these notebooks using Google's Antigravity. Again, I've got all the resources for you to learn this stuff. It's really freaking cool. And so now I've asked it to go ahead and use the notebook information to create for me a beautiful interactive dashboard where I can track my progress to learning email marketing or learning Spanish on a dashboard. I want it to publish it, to turn it into a website for me so I can share it with other people in my team to maybe go and do something. So for example, what if somebody in your team was learning email marketing? Well, we could say now to Antigravity, go ahead and create it based on these custom notebooks and actually tell me what the information is. But it doesn't even stop there. If I click on this just meanwhile to show you something, I'm going to Gemini here. I could say something like, hey dude, what was the title of my last email? And I'll put a subject line, okay? So you can connect all this stuff to Antigravity. Emails. Effectively, if you can imagine it, you can pretty much connect it if it's got a connector. So if you're ever wondering, Jack, how do I actually connect stuff? Well, let me show you. So if I come over here, for example, you come over to Google, and why don't we search for something like, it's MCP Store, and I believe it is often the top result. So it's MCP Market. Now, here's a cool thing. This is the best place to go. If you want to know how to connect something, you come to mcpmarkets.com, and you can see all these different things. So if I want to connect, for example, Firecrawl, I just type in Firecrawl, and it will appear. I was right there as well. You get the idea. And this shows you all the different MCP servers and all the different things that you can connect Antigravity to. So I can connect to Firecrawl, which is fantastic. I come over here to README. I come over to Tools, FAQ. This has everything you need to connect to. Typically speaking, the README is what you need, and it just shows you this. So then what you can do is literally copy this like so. And then when I come back to Antigravity, you can see that Antigravity is using one of its MCP tools to go ahead and grab the email from my inbox, and then it'll give me the information. So the TLDR is the fact that Antigravity can connect to pretty much anything with an API key and give you that information. And as you can see, your Ramadan treat, 20% off on Noon Food, which is a place in Dubai. Then I can basically just in natural language chat to it and say, hey, connect this MCP to my MCP config. And honestly, guys, this is how you do all your config stuff, right? You literally come over them, you click on these dots, you click on MCP servers, and then click on manage MCP servers. And you see here, you got this thing here. Well, what's really cool is if you come back to agent, what you can do now is do an @ like so, and type in the name of the file, right? And then guys, I want you to click on view raw config, and you'll see this pop up over here. And then you can tag it and you just go MCP_config. And so now you're saying, hey, Antigravity, add this connection stuff to this file. So I'll say, hey, add this, please. Okay, this is our fire crawl, for instance. And then what we can do is literally head back over. We can grab this information here by just copying it like so. Come back over to Antigravity, and then you paste this in, and all you do is replace your Firecrawl API key, which you can get from firecrawl.dev, and then you come back over and you simply paste your API key in down here. And just like that, guys, it said it's added Firecrawl. I've just pulled it up because it had an API key visible, but check this out. If I click on refresh now, you'll see Firecrawl magically appear on the left-hand side, and that now means that we can use Firecrawl to go and do various different things. And bear in mind, we're doing all of this stuff whilst Antigravity is building a different project. So you can run multiple different agents simultaneously in Antigravity. And that's one of the coolest things about these platforms is I can be spinning up a software app. I can be spinning up anything that I want to at the exact same time. And just like that, guys, you can see we've got Firecrawl now that has appeared, the MCP server Firecrawl, and it can do all these things. So I could say something like, we're going to accept this over here. I might say something like, hey, dude, scrapeglider.com and get me their brand identity and save it on the left for me. Awesome. So now we've got Firecrawl at our fingertips. It will understand in natural language, basically specify, I want you to use this model. It will go ahead and do that for us anyway, because it knows what to use. And you can see on the left-hand side, great, I've now got the Firecrawl MCP, which is so freaking cool. It's like intelligent scraping. So what Firecrawl does is let you grab anything. So I'll show you this. If I come over to their website, right, and I click on, let's say we click on scrape, right? What is really cool with Firecrawl is I could type in, let's do glider.com. Right? Or whatever website you want to. This can get you the brand identity. I click on format, I click on branding, and I click on start scraping. This will go over to Glider and grab it. And just for your reference, so you know, it's the G on the hat. It's the G. You might recognize this G. Stop talking, start typing. Really cool. I'm like, I like the look of this website. I think it's pretty cool. I like its vibe. I would love to lean on this to build my own brand identity or whatever it is. Well, you can use tools like Firecrawl now and it comes back. And so you click on branding. Look, it's got the logos, it's got the color palettes, it's got the font, it's got everything. But when we use this in Google's Antigravity, it just takes it to a new level because what we can do over here, I mean, look at this, guys. It's got the primary actions line green. I can do this programmatically. I could say do it for 50 websites. I could say, for example, go and find the top 5 speech to text dictation tools, right? And save them all on the left using Firecrawl, right? And it'll do that. And then I don't even think twice about it. It's just going ahead right now, finding the competitors, and then we'll start scraping for us. Guys, and just like that, we've got Whisperflow, Will of Voice, Nuance Dragon, Speech Notes, these different guys. And what's really cool here is I now have all the competitor brands over here. So I can click this and I've got all this breakdown now for all these different brands. How cool is that? And then obviously now you've got competitive intelligence at your fingertips. And we're doing all of this stuff whilst our website is being built in the background. And this is the cool thing about Agent Manager. Because you can see on the side here, we've got this top called Gemini, and I have websites, and it'll do this. And I can create as many of these as I want to. It's in Antigravity, so you can have 5, 6, 7 different agents running at the same time, and you can manage them in your inbox. And then when you come over to inbox, you can see what's running and what isn't. And at any point, you can literally just approve it if it needs your approval or click on it. So the only thing you really need to look at is this Antigravity program overview. And you can flip between what we call the editor view and the build view by coming here and clicking open editor. And then again, if you wanted to go back, you just click on open agent manager. Beautiful. And now it has completed. So what it's also done, guys, is instantaneously pushed it to GitHub and then Vercel. So just for your reference, GitHub is an online repo. It's where all the code lives. Fancy way of just saying place we store files, because all this stuff on the left-hand side is our dashboard, right? And it needs a place online to live. And then Vercel is the place that kind of hosts it and is our website. So look at this. I can click on Vercel, for example, open this up, give this a second. And what do we see? Our Spanish app, Spanish tracker, your daily journey. We got some Spanish foundations, some information. Okay, cool. So let's log in and see what it's about. So let's copy the username and password, enter this in, enter this one in here, and we'll sign in and check this one out. It's our Spanish tracker. And we've got lots of information. Okay, completion rate, current day, today's habits. We can actually tick this stuff off. This is cool. Business constraints. We've got vocabulary processor check, and we can actually go through and do everything. And we've got this 90-day tracker where you can literally interact with things, but it could be a little bit more functional. So now we've got the base design, 16-day streak, Sam Mitchell, and we can sign out. Pretty freaking good for a one shot. So let's go back over now to Antigravity. So now we can actually bring in Gemini by picking it here. I'm going to Gemini 3.1 high. Give it basically some guidance. I want the page to do this. I want the design to look like this. I want this to be clickable. Anything that you want to improve, we can bring Gemini in to basically improve the design to a point that we are static about. And then we open up the page and look what Gemini has done. So we've got this 90-day roadmap. We've got these different things here we can move around. And I like that it's a little bit more discreet. It's a little bit less in your face. We've got a streak here that we can set up. We can sign out at the top. The design is really crisp with this. Daily study time. We've got features where we can open up notebooks, apparently. Daily daily study time, which is cool, skill breakdown, vocabulary process, all this sort of stuff. And essentially the idea is that you can build whatever you want to now using anti-gravity built and leveraging Notebook LM. Now, the problem is you can't build incredible software like this unless you know exactly how to integrate these different features within anti-gravity, which you can learn by watching this video right here.